Thank you for listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem. This is North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. This is Amanda McKeen. You are listening to North of Normal, and we're here with you from 10 to noon every Tuesday. We have a special guest every week, and this week our guest is none other than Hunter Emerson, who is local here to Littleton. So really excited to have you here, Hunter. Thanks so much for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Hunter and I are going to have a nice little chat on air, and hopefully you guys will find some entertainment, hopefully, but also learn some things about Hunter and his life here in Littleton and kind of his background. So before we get started, I like to kind of remind existing listeners, but also new listeners, of why this show exists, why we're here. And I just told Hunter before we came on air that I was going to put him on the spot to see if he could handle this part.
I'm good under pressure.
Yeah. So let's see. Hunter, why does North of Normal exist? What are we doing here?
My thought is that I think we're trying to spread the word of what it's like to live in the North Country and how it differs from everywhere else in the country and probably the world in general.
Yeah.
And I think the radio's an awesome way to do it. And like we talked about this morning, that, you know, with the different streaming services and stuff, that, you know, you kind of forget about the radio. And I think it's cool that, you know, we have our own radio station in the North Country.
It is so cool.
That broadcasts this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on it.
Yeah, it's a great thought. I don't usually go that route, but that's totally part of it, is that, you know, we're here, and I didn't even know that this radio existed 6 months ago. So it's really great to bring visibility to not only the North Country, but the resources that we have right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other reason why this show exists is because of the people that live in the North Country. And I'm not native to here. I'm from Maine. But I've lived here for 6 years, and as I've been integrating into this awesome community, I keep meeting people and thinking, man, they are so cool. Like, more people need to know about all of these amazing human beings that live here and the grit and the heart that they bring to this area. I mean, there are so many people that they decide this is where I want to live, and then they have to figure out how are they going to make it work? How are they going to make this sustainable?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're one of those people. You have started a business. You're trying to support living life here and living life to the fullest. And you have some really interesting passions that I hope we get into today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why we're here. We've had some really amazing guests on so far. We've got a really great lineup in the next 2 months, and I am always looking for new guests. So if you guys listening have ideas on who would be a great guest on my show, just to talk about being human and showing up in the North Country, I would love introductions to those people. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And let's go right into Hunter. Can you give a little bit of background? Like, I know you've lived in Littleton. Are you actually from here?
I'm not originally from here.
Gasp.
I know.
I thought you were.
Nope.
Oh, no.
So my parents moved up here in 2002 from the Lakes region.
Oh,
So
okay.
My father worked at he was a correctional officer, and the way the whole thing works with the state is when you're up for a promotion, you can take it, but there's no guarantee that it's the correctional facility that you're currently working at. So he ended up getting a lieutenant's position at the correctional facility in Berlin, and we moved up they went and looked at houses in Berlin, and it wasn't really what they were looking for.
Okay.
So we ended up here in Littleton. And so that was 2002, so I would have been 8 going on 9.
You were 8 in 2002?
Yes.
Okay, everybody do the math. How old is Hunter?
Yeah. So going on 9.
Okay, going on 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and when we first moved up here, my parents were renting a house, and we were actually renting a house that LaHoots owned on Mans Hill.
Yeah.
And so the house we lived in was an old farmhouse on 137 acres. And at 9 years old, that was probably the worst place, and I didn't like it. We were so far out of town. You know, you move up here, and everyone else lives in town.
Okay.
And, so now you got to make plans. Your mom has to drive you somewhere. You can't walk, 5 miles out of town.
Right.
So it was, you felt kind of stuck. It's like we're out in the woods. Like, what do I do up here? And now looking back, I'm like, man, it'd be way better to be living on 137 acres.
Right.
So now it's just funny how it comes full circle like that. So yeah, like I said, moved up here in 2002 and been here since then.
All right. So I know you brought your dad up.
Yes.
We're gonna just take a minute to acknowledge who your dad is and what he does here.
Yeah. So if you notice the tall man walking around collecting meters,
parking meters
on Main Street.
Yeah.
And make sure you pay your tickets because he'll find you, and that's. Yeah.
He will find you.
Every time.
And I didn't know you.
Yeah.
When I had this, I would see him,
Yep.
right? I live on Main Street. So I'm always playing the parking game.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple times he got me. And so I started having this reaction to him as a person.
Yeah.
And, until I met you and learned that it was your dad,
Yeah.
I had this certain negative view of him, just to be honest. And
I get it.
yeah, was not happy with that guy.
Yeah.
But then after I met you and Shelly and you guys, connected the dots for me, I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do people call him around here?
Well,
He has a nickname.
We call him Big G.
Okay.
So, Gary.
Yeah.
And no, we get a kick out of it because he's takes it serious.
He does.
And hey, that's the job.
It is the job.
But I like to rag on him about it.
Good.
Because I think it's you got any quarters, Dad? Because I'm not putting any in there.
Well, 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was, sometime within the last month, Shelly told me, she's like, he's in the courthouse all day today, so no one's going to be out there. And I'm like, great.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I do the check when we go down Main Street, whether he's working, because he does also work as a court security.
Yeah.
A few days a week.
Yeah.
So
can we know what his schedule is, please?
It changes every week. So that's, he keeps everybody guessing. Nobody knows exactly where he's going to be.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if you see the parking enforcement SUV driving up and down Main Street, he's on duty.
He is.
And yeah, you better make sure the tolls are paid.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to talk about that.
Absolutely.
I know it's not directly about you, but totally has to do with you. So his name's Gary. Guys, if you're listening and you see Gary out there doing his job, make sure you say hello and thank him for doing his job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Hunter, you are quickly becoming known online for your business. And I definitely want to acknowledge that and kind of understand how that all got started.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a long story. So
we got time.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, I think I was probably like a majority of kids going through school up here.
Did you go to Littleton High School?
I did.
Okay.
And I love living up here. Being a kid, it's a little daunting, I think. There's a lot to do, but, 13, 14, 18, 20 years old, like, what am I going to do here? Like where am I going to go? Like, and I'll admit, when I was graduating high school, like, all I wanted to do was leave. I wanted to go away.
Yeah.
So my original plan was, I really enjoy the outdoors. So I had done some internships with New Hampshire Fish and Game and their biologists. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a wildlife biologist. That'll be great. I quickly found out, working with biologists, that were awesome, but, someone either has to retire or die for a position open. So the likelihood of becoming a biologist in any short amount of time is pretty slim.
Yeah.
So they basically told me that, going to kind of a more accredited school for that line of work would bump you up on the list slightly, but it's more of a put in your time.
Yeah.
And I had looked at going to Paul Smith in New York, which is a big forestry outdoor college, and went through all the paperwork, and I was never the bottom of the class, but I certainly wasn't the top of the class in high school.
Gotcha.
So as far as grants and all the other, that wasn't going to be my path. Mm-hmm. And Paul Smith is a fairly expensive school to go to. So when I looked into it, it was probably not going to fit in the budget.
Yeah.
And so now I'm back to square one. Like, what am I going to, that was my plan.
Yeah.
So then someone had mentioned, what if you went to a community college for 2 years and went into some sort of, biology program, got some credits, and then maybe had a part-time job and then finished, at a larger school. So I went to the community college in Berlin for it's not really an orientation. It's like a come walk through, sit through, like, their teaching and sit through and see, like, what you think of the program.
Okay.
And I went up there and sat through probably an hour and was like, this is absolutely not what I want to do. Like, this is not going to work for me. And so now I'm in Berlin, and I'm like, what do I do now? Like, this was my plan. Like, I'm kind of lost.
Yeah.
And I was actually on my way out of the school, and Mike Pike, who's the welding instructor at the college, stepped out, and he used to wear this red, like, it looked like a lab coat, but it was red, and like a welding jacket.
Wow.
And his, welding beanie on. And he kind of caught me, and I don't honestly know why we were going out that way, because the welding lab's on the back of the school. Yeah. So for some reason we were going out the back of the school, and he kind of caught me, and he's like, well, where are you going? And I was like, I'm leaving, because I just sat through an hour of something that I have no interest in doing. He's like, well, why don't you come in and listen to my speech? I'm like, and I'd taken auto. We touched on welding in high school, but it wasn't like I had no plans of that being a career path. Yeah. And we sat, and I listened to the speech, and, this and that and the other thing. And I really still wasn't sold on it. And then I don't know if he keyed in on that I really wasn't interested in his speech. And then he basically finished the conversation with, and you could get a job out of here making probably $100,000 a year, and you could go work anywhere in the country or world that you want to. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And I signed up right then. Like, I've, welded for probably a total of 15 minutes in my whole life up to this point. I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. And I went home. I told my father. I told my mother. I got a lot of mixed reactions.
I'm sure you did.
Most of it was, well, we really thought you would just do more than that. But I think the welding thing has a little bit of a negative. It's no different than, I think the trades are coming around. But, 10 years ago, like, Well, I'm going to go be, you know, a mechanic. Oh, wow. So you're going to be greasy all day. You're going to, you know what I mean? One of those type of things. And I told everybody the same thing. I was like, I don't know. He told me I can make $100,000 my first year out of school, and I can work anywhere in the country that I want to. Okay. You know, that was, you know, so that's what I'm doing. And the probably first 2 months there was a whole lot of, I made a really bad decision. Like, this is not going...
Like self-doubt?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is not coming... This is way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's not I like it because it's not something you can't fake it. Like, you either know how to do it or you don't. There's no... And you can fake it to a point, but, like, if you want to be able to travel around and do the stuff, like you just have to know. And I'm like, I'm going to waste 12 months here, and then I'm going to come out and not be able to do anything. So went through the program. I'd say probably the halfway mark. So somewhere in the program starts in like late August, just like your regular school year. And they offer, you can do the full year program. And so the structural program would be basically from August to winter break, so Christmas time. And then the pipe program starts after that and goes throughout the summer. So I'd say probably about the time we took our structural tests in the wintertime, I was feeling a little more confident about maybe I can do this.
Okay.
But still, like, oof, like, and, you know, at this point, you're starting to have people come through that are, you know, offering jobs. And, you know, and they're all starting position jobs. And which I understand, but also it's, they're all, you know, in Maine or southern New Hampshire. I'm like, no. Where's the people that are like, hey, you know, where do you want to go work? You know, that type of thing. And it was getting close to graduation after we went through the pipe program. And I still didn't have, like, everyone else had a job, like, lined up. But they were more local stuff. Yeah. And I was applying, I remember being on Indeed and applying to positions in Africa and Australia.
What?
And, like, but the problem is it's the same story. Well, you need more experience.
Yeah.
Well, how do I get more experience if you won't hire me?
Yeah.
So, again, I'm back to what's my plan now?
Yeah.
Like, graduation's coming up. I have, not that I couldn't have gone somewhere to work, but I don't want to go somewhere that I don't want to work, you know? And maybe I was a little jaded in the whole thing, but I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it how I want to do it. So we had another kid in the program, and he came up to me one day, and he was probably one of the only other ones that didn't have, you know, like a job lined up necessarily. He said, hey, I just talked to a buddy of mine. There's a company out of Newport, New Hampshire, and all they do is travel work. And so, you know, anywhere from here to California. And I was like, that's the deal.
Okay.
So we had a couple other students that had gone down. Myself and another guy went down and tested. Unfortunately, the first two students that had gone down there didn't quite take the test super serious. And by the time we got there, the inspectors didn't have high hopes for what we were going to do.
Oh.
So it was kind of like, yeah, the booth's over there. Come get us when you're done. Like, anyways, myself and the other guy, we ended up passing. And they were like, hey, like, these are actually halfway decent. Perfect. So we left. And like a week later, I got a check in the mail for 4 hours of going down to take a test. And I was like, this is what I'm looking to do. Like, I just got paid to go, you know, it'd be like going to do an interview and getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. And I went back down to take a second test for them. Same deal. like a week later, got a paycheck.
Nice.
I'm like, maybe I'll just run around and just take tests.
Take tests.
And after that, it was probably 2 weeks later. And like they told me, like, you have to have an email address. So I had to set up, like, I didn't even have an email address at the time. Like Gmail, something. And 2 weeks later, I got an email, and they were like, hey, be in Maryland, like the 1st of October. And they give you an address. There's no end date on anything. Just be here. This is the job site. And that's it. Perfect. So it was, because that would have been like September timeframe. So I probably had a month to get ready, to kind of like, but again, with no expectations and no idea what we were getting into.
Yeah.
Myself and the other guy that had gone down and taken a test, we jumped in his cream-colored Grand Marquis and headed to Maryland and showed up on the job site, knew nobody. It's the people you go take the test with and the lady in the office are not the people that are on the job site.
Yeah.
And you just kind of show up there, and they're like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I'm perfect. Like, meet us in the trailer, whatever. And that started the traveling thing.
Okay.
That first year, I think I left the beginning, end of September, beginning of October. I didn't come back home until after Christmas time, just on the road,
wow.
job to job.
Yeah.
And in that time, we did Maryland, Virginia, spent some time in Texas, couple small stints in Massachusetts, but just bouncing from like job to job. Then the summertime came, and it kind of slows down a little bit. You're the new guy. It's a temp position.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Like, we'll hang out for the summer. And then after that, it was California. I've been to Hawaii on jobs, and it was nonstop. And I was like, this is what I signed up for. Like, this is what I want to do.
Nice.
I worked there for a few years, and work kind of slowed down. Ended up getting on with another company doing the same type of thing, but slightly closer to home. Like, not New England, but closer to New England. And again, just, averaging probably 60 to 90 days at home a year was like somewhere around there.
Okay.
But I loved it. Like, in my 20s, living in hotels, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, a different place all the time.
Yeah.
Then, so I did that for eight years or so. And then it kind of starts to wear on you. And we worked every day, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And so it was great because you'd work for, a few months, and then you'd have a week off.
Yeah.
You can't spend any money while you're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
That's right.
So you'd come home and be like, I think I need a motorcycle, or I need this. And then it would go into the storage unit because you were gone again.
There was no time to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the companies I worked on the road for, I ended up working at their shop out of Lawrence, Mass for a while.
Okay.
And we worked the same hours, but it felt a little different because I was only in Lawrence and I was at the same place every day. So if I needed to come home or if something, and then it was I guess it would have been 2018. And I was ready for a change again. And I was like, I think I want to move to Montana. And so, like, in a matter of 2 months, I packed up everything I had and I moved to Montana. And,
where in Montana?
Great Falls, Montana. So it's like 3 hours southeast of Kalispell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, like, it's not really northwestern Montana. It's more like the Plains region.
Okay.
And this is why I'm big on the trades. The only reason, I shouldn't say the only reason, but one of the reasons I was able to do it is because I literally just typed in welding jobs in Montana. And, like, the first place I called, they were like, yeah, cool. Like, when can you be here? Like,
and so that's what drove your decision
to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I literally just put in, welding jobs in Montana. And
so it was up to Google search results.
Absolutely.
Where you lived next.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, it was like, because I had, I guess I had probably three interviews, I'd say, from Glendive, Montana, which is on the eastern side.
Okay.
All the way to Kalispell. And I just was like the first one that says yes. Like, that's where we're going. I never made it to Kalispell because I got to Glendive. It was a welding sales rep position.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to be in Montana. And I was like, maybe if I can just get this and I'll make it work until then. I didn't really like the area and the sales rep job didn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll just continue my trek. But, basically no plan per se other than hopefully somebody says yes. And got to Great Falls, went there, took a weld test, and I was like, hey, cool, I live in Great Falls now. Like, this is I got to find a place to rent. Like, it was, yeah.
So you're just there with all your stuff without a place?
Yeah, I had a Jeep Wrangler with a Tractor Supply, 6x8 trailer behind it with everything I owned. And, yeah. And
Did you, stay in the Walmart parking lot for
I got a hotel
nights?
for a couple nights. And then, I kind of shoot from the hip.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So, after they said yes, I, went through the Rolodex. I'm like, okay, there's a KOA you can rent cabins from. I could sleep in this Jeep, but it's me and the dog. So,
okay.
I don't have a ton of room in here. And I also have a ton of stuff on my open trailer that really doesn't need to be spending a whole bunch of time outside.
Yeah.
And I called around, and there happened to be this little tiny place in Great Falls, and I was like, perfect, sign me up. And he's like, well, it's got to be you got to do a year-long lease. Sure, whatever, that's fine. Again, this is, younger me, just being like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. Younger, let's do it. And I think I had 2 weeks before I started, and all the dog and I drove around I would go as far as I could go from Great Falls on a tank of fuel in every direction. And we just fished for 2 weeks. We just fly fished. It was the middle of July, and I was like, this is where I need to be.
Is that why you wanted to go to Montana?
It was definitely a driving factor, was the outdoor side of things. I've always had the great Western frontier image in my head, yeah, this will be perfect.
You look like you should be in Montana, actually. So.
And I had an absolute blast out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was, I always laugh too, because I was in my element. I was fishing on the Missouri River. This is the best thing. I'm like, this is the best decision I've ever made. And I started working, and I had met a real good buddy of mine who we're still friends now, Rick Carroll. And, so he asked me, he's like, so what have you been doing since you've been out here? And I was like, fly fishing, dude. I'm in Great Falls, Montana. So Craig, Montana is the next town. Craig, Montana, if you type that on Google, it's one of the spots on the Missouri River. Craig, Montana is built of fly fishing guides.
Okay.
I'm like, what do you think I'm doing? It's July in Montana.
Yeah.
And he's like, you've been out on the river, walking up and down the rivers? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't fish around here until January. I'm like, why? He's like, there's rattlesnakes all over the place. I'm like, Rick, listen, I understand that you've lived out here your whole life, but clearly my 2 weeks of experience, I know way more than you do. I said, Rick, I've been out on the river for 2 weeks. Every river around here. I said, I haven't seen one rattlesnake. He said,
were you looking?
That's what he said. He said, were you looking for rattlesnakes? I said, well, no. He's like, all right. He goes, when you go out again, just keep in mind what I said about the rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
So I went out probably, it might even been that afternoon. I almost stepped on one immediately getting out of the Jeep.
No kidding.
And saw another 3 or 4 more like way closer than I would have liked them to be, but because I was looking for them. And then I started thinking about all the time I'd spent not looking for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, maybe this guy does know what he's talking about. And so we certainly paid a lot more attention after that.
Yeah.
And I went back.
Well, you had your dog with you too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure he was paying more attention to what was going on
Probably
on the ground than I was, because
Yeah.
I'm just like, Montana.
Gotta
like
catch the fish.
River, like this
Yes.
is great. And meanwhile, there's, 15 rattlesnakes watching me. And part of me thinks that maybe they just felt bad for me. They're like, look at this guy. Like, he has no idea. Like, and I ended up spending a year out there, moved back here, worked for a couple companies, and the whole time, though, I think the business was in the back of my mind.
Starting
my own
Yep.
business. But I guess I didn't really see the best way to go about it, and I didn't really want to just... I felt like I needed to put in... I always felt like I needed to put in more time, and I needed to know... I always thought to start your own business, you have to know everything. Because if not, you know what I mean? How can you say that you are running it, but you don't know how to do this certain thing?
Mm-hmm.
So every time I thought about starting a business, I'm like, well, yeah, but what if someone calls about,
Yeah.
What if someone needs, the top of the space shuttle welded on, and you've never done that before? Like, how can you be the business owner?
I love that example, by the way.
Like, so, and I actually did go teach at the college for a stint in between, I guess it was...
Which college?
The community college in Berlin that I went to.
Nice.
So I went back and taught, realized that was not going to be... That was the next... When I got back from Montana, that was the move. That's what I'll do. I'm, at this point, 27 or so, and... done enough working, like it's time to take it easy. Like I think I'm going to do a teaching job, no more like working, I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
I went up there and taught for a while and realized that it was not a fit for me. And I was like, okay, I like teaching people. It's slow paced.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of repetitiveness.
It is.
And so I was like, okay, this isn't, but what am I going to do now? What's the next plan? And went back, worked for a company I'd worked for before, and I kind of felt stuck as far as, like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, I don't want to work for someone else forever. Mm. And then I started really paying attention to... I knew some guys out west that somewhat worked for themselves, but not really. They ran their own trucks, but it wasn't their own business per se. But I didn't see that, like seeing a welding truck, especially up here, but even in New England in general is not nearly as common as it is, out west. And I'm like, I don't understand why. Like, we have the same industry, if not more, in New England than a lot of those places do out west. Mm. Like, somebody has to fix this stuff. Like, so... Is there just nobody that does it? So then I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. That's the next plan, is I'm going to be a rig welder. I'm going to set up my own truck. Like, it's going to be great. I'm going to run around. Well, I found out that there's not a ton of rig welder work up here if you're not a business per se. Mm. So, like out west, you could just put a welding machine in your truck and go out and be like, yeah, I'm a rig welder. And there'd be some natural gas company that will hire you because that's what they do. Because as soon as the job's over, they just, hey, go find something else.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I'm like, I started thinking about setting this truck up. And then a buddy of mine said, hey, it's a company out of Maine. Basically, you use their truck, their machine. You can go work for them, and they do a ton of prevailing wage jobs. And I was like, that's perfect. So it's government work, 40 hours a week. The pay is really good. You're still traveling, but staying local to New England. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So I did that for probably 3 months. And then I said, why am I working for somebody else doing this when I could just work for myself and do the same thing I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
And so that's when I put the truck together with no plan other than, if you put the truck together, the work will come type thing. And it didn't. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So it turns out that, like, even if you buy a bright red truck and put a welding machine in it, just driving around with it does not bring work to you.
No.
So I bought the truck, had big intentions and dreams of how this was going to go. And like most things that I've done, it didn't go how I planned it to. So I ended up back at the company I worked for in Lawrence, still driving a welding truck around, but doing the, working for somebody else again.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting a mechanical contractor out of Mass, and I said, hey, listen, like, I have this truck that I'm putting together, like, but I want to go all in on this, like, business side of it. And now all they said was, yeah, if you put a truck together, like, we'll hire you, like, we'll subcontract you. I'm like, now looking back at that, to go and invest the amount of money it takes to put that together, especially the way that I put it together, was crazy off someone just being like, yeah, if you just do it, like, of course we will. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because looking back now, if someone said that to me now, I'd be like, yeah, well, we're going to need, like, a contract or something.
But
I was just like, see, this is all you had to do. So I put the truck together, and it worked out. And I worked for them nonstop for probably 8 months.
Like they were your only client?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like one client.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, this is great. Like, I don't even have to, all they do is they just call me and tell me go here. And, like, I don't have to talk to anybody. Like, this is perfect. And, like, I know how to do this. And it was until they were like, yeah, so we don't have anything for, like, a while. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had, luckily, working in the field that I did, I had made a lot of contacts.
Oh, good.
But I was kind of like up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't great. Like,
you didn't see that coming?
Amanda, I'm telling you.
Come on.
Like, shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this sounds like a good idea. Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
So over the years, I started, actually less than over the years, quickly I started trying to just build up. I spent a ton of time driving around, just talking with people. Luckily, I don't have too much of an issue talking to people that I've never met before. So, and I don't think I'd be a good salesman, but I think I can talk pretty well. So, and people seem to respond to that.
Okay.
And so I made a bunch of contacts just driving around and, like, showing up. And you always get a couple people, you show up and they're like, what are you doing here? Because, you drive in past the gate that says authorized vehicles only.
Yeah.
And, like, well, whatever. Like,
kind of brave.
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Like, and then it kind of grew from there. I still had some big clients that were my main customers. But the dream was always to have a business based out of the North Country. And I think it speaks volumes that I've worked in almost every state. I've been all over the place, including Alaska. But I'm still back here.
Yeah.
Like, there's something.
What is that?
I think an easy way to put it is like this morning, trying to find the radio place down here.
Yeah.
I walked into the building, and I don't know that I've ever been in this building. And maybe once as a kid, maybe. And I was clearly lost walking around. And
as is most people, by the way.
And there was a lady getting on an elevator. I've never met her in my life. We have no idea. And she's like, you need to, like, you trying to find somewhere in here? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually trying to find the North Country Radio. And she's like, oh, perfect. I'll take you down there. Like, no big deal. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's an easy way to put of how it is up here, like, for the most part, is like people wanting to help and like the small community vibe that we have, like that I don't have to know you to be willing to help you.
Yeah.
And after working all over the place, I think we get spoiled up here thinking that every other place is like that. And then you go and work in these other places and realize that it's not like that at all. And that there's a lot of places that people would either, one, pretend like you're not there because you're not their problem, or like, hey, do you know where this is? I have no idea. Like, I have no interest in talking to you. I don't know who you are. Like, leave me alone. And it's not like that up here. And I think and like I said, that's an easy way to put it, but I think that's a big part of the North Country vibe.
Absolutely.
Is just the friendliness and the willingness to help people that, like, you've never met before.
Yeah.
And which I think is pretty cool.
It is.
And like I said, I think it speaks volumes that I've been all over the place, and and I remember having this conversation with a buddy of mine when we were probably in our early 20s, and he worked for Halliburton, and same thing. We both worked on the road. And I remember having a conversation one night, and he's like, I've been everywhere. He's like, but there's no place like here. And I'm sure that everybody says that about where they're from, but I don't think there's any other place that's like this place here. And which I think is cool. Like I said, I think it's cool. It's different. And I've had buddies of mine from out west that have come out here before, and it's always the same. Like, I always get the same reaction. It's the same, like, man, I've never been anywhere that's like this place. And which is crazy because, like, we're just a little town.
Yeah.
Like a little chunk of...
We're this hidden little region here.
Exactly. So, yeah. And like I said, I think this is just where I want to be. And that was the goal, was to build a business here, to keep me around here more.
Yeah.
And not, in my 20s, the traveling around was great. It's not so great anymore.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. That is quite a story. And you know what I love is that throughout everything that you described, you recognize what you wanted every time. And you were quick to say yes. And maybe that burns you sometimes, but I think that right there is actually really special, and what has given you so much life experience is because you're saying yes.
And I think I still go up to the college every year and do call it like a demo day, and like talk with the students. And I tell all the students the same thing. Like, if you even have an inkling that you might want to go out and check out some other stuff, like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it right now, because 18, 19, 20 years old, like, if it doesn't work out, you can just come back. Like, but if you never go and do it, you're never going to know.
Yeah.
And I tell them all the same thing. Like, I think anyone who leaves up here, there's probably a 98% chance they're going to end up back here. But if you never leave, you're always going to wonder.
You will.
And I told them the same thing. Like, at that, like, just say yes. Like, what's the worst that happens? You know what I mean? Like, you got to sleep in your vehicle for a couple days. Like, I don't know. Like, just do it.
You, like, step on a rattlesnake or something.
Right, exactly. But who doesn't want that story down the road?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think I love it up here. And like I said, I'm super grateful that I did things the way that I did them.
Yeah.
Because I think the one thing, and I don't even want to say it's a bad thing, but when you live up here, you'd start to take it for granted if you don't go other places.
Totally.
And I think there's people, unfortunately, that don't realize how good it is up here until you go to other places, and you're like, man, like, I had it pretty sweet where I was. And so that's why I think it's great for anyone to go to, regardless of where you're from, but I think it's great to go leave and check out new things and compare and contrast to what you had going on. Because like I said, looking back to 15-year-old me, where all I wanted to do was leave, and like, why would I want to stay here? Like, I felt like we might as well have been in Dead Horse, Alaska. I'm like, there's nothing around. You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? And then coming back, and I'm like, man, like, this is way better than some other places.
Yeah, you went and got some perspective, and now you're building what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And I think, especially for business owners up here, like, I don't know that there's any other place that's to start a business like up here. Like, I think there's so much community up here, and what I think's cool about it is that, reputation is huge up here.
It is.
And which obviously, can go either direction. I get that. But it's cool to see that you could start a business up here and the sky's the limit based on the reputation you have in the community, which is not like that in most places. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
And so I think that's super cool, and it's a wicked advantage for
it is.
Someone that, and again, it's tough because, if you're, a transplant per se, getting over that hump can be difficult because it's, like, I don't know anybody.
Oh, I was there. I've lived that, so I know.
But I think then on the transverse side of that thing, once you do get over that hump, you're just part of, you know what I mean? You're part of it now, which I think's awesome.
It is.
And it's, I guess the best way to put it is, it's not you can't hide around here. You can, but you can't. And like, when you drive down Main Street, oh, there's so-and-so, and there's so-and-so. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you can kind of blend in, but like once you've made yourself known, like you've made yourself known.
You have.
And which I think is cool. It's not like being in a giant city where you can just kind of blend into the crowd. And, unless you're doing this or that or this, and, you're competing against other people for, this much to get by, I think it's cool up here.
Yeah, it is.
I guess that's where my long rant was going.
Yeah. I love what you've said. And now I think you have a physical location for Emerson Welding, and you're trying to be more known. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
So what are you doing to
try to be more known?
Make that happen?
Well, so we obviously worked with you, Amanda, and we did a fabulous job on the website, which is awesome.
Yeah, website is smoking.
Yeah. I think the toughest thing for me has been a little bit of trying to be humble and not run around and this is what we do. This is what we do.
Oh, but typical.
Also,
yes,
I'm not that person either.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of the time I'm pretty outspoken. So trying to I feel walk that line a little bit. We have been putting out a lot more on social media. Luckily, Shelly helps me with that because I like doing the work, and it's all the stuff that goes, I don't know how many times Shelly's asked me, did you get any pictures of that stuff? I'm like, no. And she's like, well, where is it right now? And I'm like, currently on a trailer leaving. And she's like, since she's been a lot better, like she stops up at the shop
Okay.
pretty frequently
To get
like,
pictures.
Hey, like I'm gonna get some pictures.
Yeah.
Of this, which is awesome. And she's updating the website.
Good.
And just more word of mouth stuff.
Yep.
Like a lot of handshakes. Which again, being in the North Country, I think is cool. Like that handshake still means something, and you can show up somewhere, and honestly, the feedback that I've gotten, which I kind of already knew, like it means a lot more for someone if you show up somewhere and like, hey, I'm Hunter, and this is what we do, type deal.
Yeah, relationship over a transaction.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So, yeah, and we're still doing, we still do the mobile thing. And
Okay.
so, like next week, I'm headed back to New York. So
Yep.
we're playing both sides of it. We do have a full-time employee at the shop now, which is
Nice.
awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah, so that was it was the working every single day thing.
Yeah.
Was getting to me, and I
Yeah.
was like, we got to do something different.
Yep.
So that's been good. And like I said, if anybody does any business with us, they probably will end up talking with Shelly because she's kind of the phone, social media.
And Shelly's awesome. She's actually going to be on here next week.
Yeah. Yep.
Because she's got her own stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, so it's been good. So like
Yeah.
I said, it's a little daunting, because having the mobile side of things kind of established since like 2019-ish, it feels like I'm starting over again with the shop. It's a different side
Yeah.
of the business. And so that's been a little daunting, but I think overall it's been good. And again, just I'm still working on my shoot from the hip ideas. Like
yeah.
Shelly's been really good about when I come home and I was like, so I was thinking. And she's like, you make me nervous when you say you were thinking. And I'm sure she'll fill you in on some of that when she's here next week.
Yeah. We'll have plenty to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hunter, we've almost been talking for an hour and we usually take music breaks and we haven't taken any music breaks, which is cool. Like, I love that you shared your story because I didn't know all of that background about you and it helps me understand how you work better.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
We have a couple minutes left. I definitely wanted to touch base on a couple of things you do for fun.
Yep.
You like to be outside. We know you like fishing, but I know that you do hunting as well.
Yeah. So I grew up hunting with my father. We always had bird dogs, and we were kind of always like the deer hunting. Like, I don't want to call us deer hunting snobs, but like that was like we just deer hunted. Like, that
did you have your own land?
So when we first moved up here, we had that beautiful 137 acres.
Did you hunt on that?
We did.
Okay.
And so we used that, which was awesome. And that was probably, that was the saving grace when I was a kid, was like, well, at least we can go hunting out here. Like, I guess that's, we'll make it work. But we always had bird dogs, but bird hunting was always like deer season's not started yet,
something to
do.
Yeah.
And but we never got into it. It's like super heavy. But we had Brittany's growing up my whole life, Brittany Spaniels. But we never had I'll just say, we never had a good bird dog. Like, we always had bird dogs, but they were like, I don't know, like you let them out and
mediocre.
Not even.
Not even.
No, like they were like house dogs that wore like a bird dog jacket, And so after my last Brittany, who was probably the closest thing to a good bird dog that I'd ever had, passed away, I was like, I went through the, no more dogs. Like, I'm not doing any more dogs. Like, so I had like a year without a dog. And then I decided I needed another dog. But I was like, this time I'm going to go with a different breed. I want a good bird dog. And I ended up with an English setter out of Wisconsin. And it's funny, the breeder, you can't pick a dog from her. She picks them for you as far as the puppies go. And she had, after we talked the first time for an hour or two on the phone, after the puppies were born, she called me probably a month or so after they were born. She's like, I think I picked one out that's going to fit you. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but perfect. And I laugh because if Shelly always tells me that Timber and I are very alike and he is, like, he's got a squirrel brain like I do, and he's like, he's just high speed all the time. And I don't know how at, 4 weeks old, this lady was like, that one will work. Because Shelly asks all the time, she goes, do you think his brothers and sisters are like he is? Or do you think he's one of a kind? And I'm like, I can't imagine seeing how most of her customers are, 50 to 65 would have one like this. I'm like, because this dog is out to lunch.
I wish you had brought Timber here. Probably would have been disruptive, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if I could have kept him, like, he's not a naughty dog. He just is busy.
Yeah.
All the time. But I'm busy all the time.
Yeah.
And like I said, going back to, when I come home and I say I was thinking, and Shelly's like, that's dangerous. Because what were you thinking about? Because it's not like I was thinking tonight we should have chicken. It's like I was thinking we should start a whole nother business in a different part of the country doing something else. And she's like, whoa, tap the brakes. So she certainly keeps me on the tracks.
Yeah.
Because if I'm left to my own devices, things can go sideways. And I think I've been lucky because nothing's gone absolutely sideways with all the shooting from the hip that I do. Mm-hmm. But it could quickly. But so that's been the dog thing has been, like, I deer hunted last year. Timber will be 2. Actually, no, sorry, he'll be 3 this January. And the first year I had him, though, no deer hunting.
Yeah.
I just trained with him.
Okay.
And it's been super, super rewarding to have a dog that's, like, that's what he does. Yeah. And after having a really good bird dog, I'm like, I don't know how I did this with the other dog.
Good.
Because it was like, I could have grabbed someone's, like, golden retriever from their front lawn and been like, cool, bird dog now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, hunting, fishing, a little bit of mountain biking, outdoor stuff.
You mountain bike?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I got Shelly into that. And,
okay. We needed to talk off air then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And, I asked Shelly, I said, do you want to try mountain biking? She's like, I kind of like hiking. She's like, do you want to go hiking with me? And I was like, absolutely not.
No.
Hiking is not my thing. And mostly because I just, I get it, but I feel bad because she's like, I don't know why you like hiking. Like, you'll go hunting. And she's like, you'll go wander around the woods, but you won't go hiking. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to hike somewhere with, like, I don't understand the purpose.
It is a little bit different than hunting. So, Shelly, I'm sorry to take Hunter's side here, but
I just, so I was like, well, what about mountain biking? And she's like, I don't know that I want to ride a bicycle through the woods. But I'm also, because I was like, well, it's like hiking, but on a bike. And she's like, yeah, but, like, the trails are, like, rough and, like, yeah, that's the point. Like, it's fun. And I can be kind of persistent if I think somebody's going to enjoy doing something and maybe they just need that little extra push. I'm pretty good at pushing. So I'm like, I'll just buy you a bike. And she's like, I don't think you should do that. And I was like, all right, well, then I'll rent you a bike.
There you go. And
if I rent you a bike, you have to use it because I paid for it.
Yes.
And And she went out the first time and she liked it, and since then, like, that's kind of our thing.
Amazing.
So, and I'm sure she'll mention it, like, she's my camera woman on all our bird hunting trips.
She did tell me that already, yeah.
And like some super cool videos and pictures that she's gotten, which has been cool, because to be able to do stuff like that together.
Yeah.
And, you know, because it's not, I'm not saying that like hunting is like a guy's thing, but like there's not as many women that enjoy it, but she has a aspect of it that she enjoys, which is cool.
That's good.
Yeah. So.
Well, hey, we're at the top of the hour. Do you want to do the call sign? You just have to read that right there.
I don't even know if I can read it from here.
Okay, I'll do the call sign.
Okay.
You guys are listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. This is Amanda McKeen. You're listening to North of Normal. Hunter Emerson is here with me today, and we have just wrapped up a wonderful hour of conversation, more than an hour, because Hunter's a talker. Yeah. But just so thankful to have you here. Thank you for saying yes.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and we're going to look forward to hearing from Shelley next week, who is Hunter's better half. Yeah. So if you guys tuned in today, thank you so much. We're going to listen to some really great music in the next hour. Please make sure you tune in next Tuesday at 10 a.m. to hear from Shelley Panette, who is Hunter Emerson's girlfriend and also a driving force behind Emerson Welding. All right. Thank you, guys.